Yeah, I know. It's another idiotic Buzzfeed video, and I'm sorry. I wouldn't keep responding to them if these liberal assholes didn't keep spreading their particular brand of liberal stupidity across the internet. And these morons are totally clueless about their own stupidity. Anyone with half a brain can watch these videos and see clearly what these freaks are doing wrong. And if we can do it, why can't they? Why are these people so totally incapable of introspection? Why don't they know that people aren't going to see them as liberal crusaders, but as idiots without a clue? So let's see what happens when BuzzFeed pays women to be assholes.
My balls! I don't want my balls sticking to my legs!
You know, if you had any balls, metaphorically or physically, you wouldn't be in a BuzzFeed video. And what is it with that stupid nose ring? You look like a diseased cow that nobody in their right mind would want to lead to slaughter. You can't try manspreading. You either have a legitimate reason to sit that way, or you're an asshole. Men have a legitimate physical reason to sit the way that they sit. These idiots do not.
Manspreading is when a man spreads his physical body to take up as much space as humanly possible.
That's not why he's doing it. You're an idiot. He isn't trying to be a jackass, unlike you BuzzFeed morons. He's sitting comfortably. Deal with it.
The people around you are relegated to a very small portion, but the key to manspreading is not noticing.
Yeah, because women who do this are totally innocent, and I bet she's totally ignorant that she's taking up more than one seat too. But she doesn't care. Women spreading sucks, but I don't see him making videos about that, do I?
We grow up on two different tracks. People who manspread just are socialized not to worry about it.
Socialization has nothing to do with it. Let me repeat this again. Legitimate, physical reason. You don't see guys whining that women's boobs take up too much space. Can't they just do something about that? This whole thing is idiotic. From the special little snowflakes to whom stupidity is an art form.
I have so many vivid memories as a child of my mum telling me to close my leg.
And your mom wasn't telling you that so you take up less space, but because she didn't want you showing off what you had down there, presumably while you were wearing a skirt or a dress.
With gender, we're constantly working towards trying to get to this middle.
There is no middle. Whether you morons like it or not, there are two sexes. Each sex has their own particular set of genitalia. Deal with it. When you find somewhere to stick your boobs so they're not in the way, we'll find somewhere to stash our testicles.
This week of manspreading is definitely going to make me feel anxious. As much as a super strong feminist, I want to say it won't.
You actually felt anxious as you looked forward to a week of acting like an asshole. Good? That shows you've got some kind of a moral sense, distorted though it may be. And I say distorted because normal people wouldn't go and do what you did. Think about that, won't you?
I kind of secretly hope to annoy some men.
Oh, I'm sure it worked. Why do you purposely go out and try to piss people off? Well, because you're an idiot. And you're not acting like an idiot because you have a legitimate point to make, but because you're trying to make BuzzFeed money. Fuck you!
That's my first train trip as a manspreader. I just feel like a monster already. How can you do this every day without being conscious of it?
You're being a jackass. Nobody sits like that. Well, except asshole feminists working for BuzzFeed. But of course, that's something I've learned about young people these days. They think that acting like assholes is somehow their right. Well, newsflash for you retards. The only people that you're making look bad are you.
I just manspread on the bus for maybe a 5-minute ride for the first time, and it wasn't even half full, and I was already getting glared at, so I think this is going to be a kind of long week.
Yeah, because you have no legitimate reason to do it, and people think you're a jerk. And you are.
It's day 2 of manspreading, and I forgot that I had to do this.
I think
because you don't have to do it. You're choosing to do it. You're making a conscious effort to be an asshole. And it's no wonder people are pissed off at you.
whenever a woman takes up space, she's considered bossy, she's considered aggressive. There are a lot of stereotypes surrounding Black women and whether or not we're angry or we're dominant. And so maybe a lot of the reasons why I do minimalize my presence is because I don't want to be perceived or engage with those stereotypes.
And then you put yourselves on YouTube being obnoxious. Good job.
I just got my nails done and I man-spread during my entire manicure and nobody really seemed to notice. I'm not sure if it was because it was all women and we were just all kind of in our own world or what, but it was kind of awesome.
Wait a minute. Isn't the whole thing about manspreading taking up space on the bus or train so that other people are inconvenienced? What the hell difference does it make how you sit in an individual chair? Are you mental?
I'm halfway through the week and really not enjoying this experiment at all. I'm still giving my seat up to people who need it because, of course, I am.
If you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? I mean, other than the paycheck that Buzzfeed's giving you, of course.
What is it between their legs that's so important that it requires 2 to 3 seats when there are kids, families, women, and elderly people standing up?
2 or 3 seats? How fucking huge do you think their balls are? Well, I mean, it's not like you'd know, because you're probably a lesbian anyhow, but I think that statement is the epitome of where these BuzzFeed feminists fail. They just don't understand. They make no attempt to understand. They simply react. And because they react so ignorantly, they make idiot videos like this proving just how stupid feminists really are.
I saw a guy who was taking up 2 seats. When I sat down, I spread my legs out, which kind of pushed his leg into his own seat. And he turned to me and gave me a dirty look and said, "Seriously?"
Yes, seriously. You still have no balls necessitating what you're doing. He's sitting naturally, you're being a jackass. But I guess that's lost on you, isn't it?
Women are expected to be quiet, small, and almost invisible, whereas men can be these boisterous slobs, and it's all good.
Wrong. Both men and women are expected to take up as much room as they need to take up, and no more. But here you are taking up more room than necessary, and not only more room, much more room, for the purposes of making money on YouTube. And you can't figure out why people get upset.
Instead of feeling the confidence that I've kind of been feeling the rest of the week, I started to feel a little guilty. While I was sitting there taking up 2 seats, a guy came up to sit next to me, and instead of moving over like I normally would, I kind of just had to sit there with my legs out, and instead of saying something to me, he just sat on the edge of the seat the entire time.
You are an asshole, and I don't know how much more I can say. Fuck you, you feminist bitch.
So I've come across another person, quote unquote, man-spreading, but wait, they identify as female. Women can take up space as well?
Oh look, it's that same page shill for Buzzfeed that I've pointed out in other videos. You didn't just come across someone at random who manspread, you found somebody else who works with you, paid for by the same liberal shithole website, who will do anything for $1, just like you.
Even though I'm a confident person, I tend to make myself small even when the situation doesn't call for it. And I kind of felt uncomfortable man-spreading even though there was no one around me.
Because, say it with me now, you still have no legitimate reason to do so. You're just being a douchebag, and you ought to feel bad about that.
I've not enjoyed this week at all. The very first day where a group of people came on, they were going to a game and they were all desperate for a seat, and I was taking up 3 seats, and they started talking about personal space. All their eyes were just on me, and they were mostly women. If it was a group of dudes, I would have been like, yeah.
See, you're not manspreading in that situation. You're just being a prick. You're laying across multiple seats. I mean, you're so fucking stupid, you can't even manspread right.
I thought that manspreading would kind of give me this air of disregard because I thought that I worried too much about what people think, and I've realized that I worry just enough. You should be concerned with whether or not the people around you are comfortable, because that means you're a good community member.
But you're the one sitting there being a complete twat on purpose, for no demonstrable reason other than some shithole website is paying you to do it. And I'm sure this goes right over your head, too.
My favorite part of this exercise was easily when I got to sit next to men who were taking up way too much space and just forcefully work my way into the seat and without words say, hey, I deserve to sit here.
And you're sitting there, and you have no reason to do what you're doing other than being a stupid ass.
To be forced to manspread really showed me how up your own ass you have to be as a person to not be conscious of those around you.
And how up your ass you clearly are in your own feminist ideology because you're not conscious at all of what you're doing wrong. So-called manspreading isn't a conscious choice of men. It's how they're put together. Pretending to manspread and ending up looking like a bunch of jerks isn't a comparable thing for women who don't have testicles between their legs. Try something else that actually exists in women. Think about that for a while, why don't you?
To the man that's taking up too much space on a bus, on the plane, on the bench, we see you. You don't need that much room. To the young women out there, I say you should definitely be aware of your surroundings. If there's something that you want, if there's something you want to say, if there's a position that you want to hold, take up that space. You deserve that space.
No. You don't deserve anything. You have to earn it. And I know that's hard to hear for liberal losers who think that they just ought to be handed things on a silver platter, but that's not how it works. But that's a thread running through this entire video. Women who are offended that other people have biological needs, therefore they act like assholes, without having any understanding or interest in the actual reasons why these things happen. They don't think, they react, and they react like idiots. But they're idiots that are not at all self-aware. They just make themselves look like fools. And I guess the only takeaway anybody has to take from this video is that these three women are morons and Buzzfeed sucks. And I guess at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing for the YouTube viewing public to learn, is it?